In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we're here now with Cephus, Uncle Bobby X. Johnson of the Love Not Blood campaign. He is the uncle of Oscar Grant III, young black male killed by a former or then BART officer on a station platform, New Year's Day 2009. The case that's similar there is the case of Dante Wright, recently killed in a so-called taser confusion. Uncle Bobby is here to analyze and give us his thoughts on the verdict in the Derek Chauvin murder case, the murder of George Floyd, the killing of George Floyd. We'll see if the jury decides it's murder on any count in just a few. Uncle Bobby, we're going to put the share screen in so we can be abreast of what's happening as you talk over that. So let me share the screen, but welcome to Liberated Sisters.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Charlene.
Wa alaikum salam. 1 second. Let's get, let me share what's happening right now. We selected CNN just in terms of the analysis that we want to also hear. Can you hear that screen, Uncle Bobby and others?
I can't hear it yet.
Okay, I'm going to lower it. Right now, they're speaking to people in Minneapolis, and we want to wait for the verdict to come in. So, Uncle Bobby, give us your thought about this. And I just don't want to, forgive me. Oh, that's George Floyd's girlfriend who testified.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to lose the verdict, and but I don't want this to overwhelm what you're saying.
Okay.
So she's saying they need to come back with a guilty verdict. Uncle Bobby, your thoughts about this verdict about to come down?
I mean, I'm shaken, you know, trying to be as cautiously optimistic as possible. But, you know, for many years, we've been let down. It appears to be pretty obvious that he should be found guilty on all three charges, but, you know, you just never know. Just never know.
What's going through your mind right now as you have been here, not just for Oscar, but for many other families in this same position? In a courtroom or not in a courtroom in their case, but waiting around, whether it's at a relative's house or the friend's house, or even in the courtroom, down the hallway, LA criminal courts, in prayer with your family, waiting for a verdict.
Right.
Well, actually, let me just say this. In Oscar's case, I don't know where you all went, but I know many of the media went down to LAPD headquarters because they announced the same day that they found the killer in the serial murders of Black women. So I don't know, but go ahead, Uncle Bobby. Let me not digress.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm just right now empty, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like you want a guilty verdict to happen, but we've been let down for so many years. And then you know, I'm a conspiracy thinker too. They may just do this just to throw him under the bus because it was so obvious, but yet doesn't mean that it's going to change anything. You know, so, you know, I'm looking for some real substance behind what the verdict could be, but yet at the same time have this thing in the back of my mind that because it was so obvious and because they understand the demand, that they may just give it to us.
You say we don't want charity.
Right.
You're saying no charity, but accountability.
Exactly. This is all about accountability.
Uncle Bobby, what fully would accountability look like to you here in this death, this killing of George Floyd?
The maximum sentence that he can get, which if I remember right, was like 25 years to 40 years or 40 years. I forget exactly, but not the low term, you know, but the highest term that any officer can get for killing us as blatantly as he did. That would at least send out a possible message that you committed these egregious acts so openly and blatantly that you will be held accountable, you know, but that doesn't mean that they won't do it in secret.
Thank you. Yes, sir. It just occurred to me, Uncle Bobby. Do you want to go? Hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
So, the world is on pins and needles. People are
Yeah.
watching this, especially across the country, Uncle Bobby, and mass military presence, especially in Minneapolis. What do you think about that?
Well, we've seen that before. So I don't know if I really think about that as much as I think about,
Mm.
you know, various family members that are in much more pain of seeing this and not able to really understand how to deal with it. I got a call this morning from the wife of you know, a friend of mine who also had lost his son, and she broke down because her husband, the father of his son, the father woke her up at 6 o'clock in the morning just crying, you know. And so the idea of seeing this,
Mm-hmm.
like we're seeing this and hearing it over and over and over, and then reliving what happened to our loved one, is got a lot of us family members at a state of I don't know. It's a strange place where I'm at with this.
Wow. Thank you, Uncle Bobby. Hold on one second, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Uncle Bobby, thank you. You're right. And as I heard you and many of the other families, of course, in Families United for Justice share before, when something like this happens, as we see the Floyd family going through this, you all are each living it, reliving what happened to your loved one. You're feeling the Floyd's pain as well as your own. How do you get through that? Because it happens often. Okay, it's getting ready to happen with Dante.
Right. Right.
Mm.
I mean, this being such a high profile case or shooting, uh, I'll be honest, I haven't even had a chance to really sit down to absorb because of all these phone calls concerning this particular verdict that's going to come.
Yeah.
And, you know, the request of hoping to be able to get some kind of interview or conversation about how we're handling this situation. So it's a, I don't know, you know, yeah.
Uncle Bobby, my heart goes out to you and the families in your network, you know, and thank you. I said it before, but thank you for speaking to Liberated Sisters, taking our call, because I know you're in hot demand right now. And it's really not just right now. I bear witness that your phone, Sister Beatrice's phone, Love Not Blood's phone, never stops ringing.
Right.
Never, never. That's why
Right.
when I take a little break, I'll be so happy. But
Right.
we can come at any minute. We were told at 4:30. The news is saying between 4:30 and 5. It could be read any minute. So when they read it, Uncle Bobby, I'm going to put in the CNN coverage of that.
Okay.
The protest that people are planning for, people meaning cities, municipalities, and protecting the property and different things. What do you think about the message it sends when we hear what we heard recently, that in Minneapolis, you know, of course, the police precinct was being protected because we saw earlier in protests that one was Seattle burned one down, right? But I'm just thinking about the human life to the property, not that we condone property being destroyed by any means.
Right. Right. So the question is, what do I think? How do I feel about that? It really goes to what I've been saying since Oscar's murder, that if we don't pull this in by holding officers accountable and bringing about real transparency, there's going to be a internal explosion, right? Meaning that no longer will we see people just protesting, But as soon as we see rocks thrown, as we see bottles are thrown, as we seeing people setting up barricades to confront the police. So when I see this military response, it just goes to show just how sick our criminal justice system has become to create within us, the citizens of this country, especially, this idea that, you know, we're dealing with an occupying army, with an army that really doesn't care about who we are. And our response to that is to basically stand up to it, in other words.
Wow. We're just praying for people's safety. I was doing something, and, you know, I'd been watching the news, and my spirit just said, the verdict is out. And I said, no, stay focused right here. And I kept saying, the verdict is out. And I turned on the news, and there it was. I mean, it was a big energy push in my spirit, and my whole body just kept saying, check it. It's out. Now the worry is here. The fear is here. But should people be afraid? I hear that expressed a lot. I am hearing it. Should people be afraid?
It's hard for me to say how people should feel. I mean, because I think we all internalize this struggle differently. So, you know, I'll say it like I said it when people were afraid with Oscar, that we can't, at least we as a family can't dictate or control how people feel, because each person own personal experience tells them where they're at with that. So, you know, the fear is a legitimate fear, because again, we may be just let down. The anger is a legitimate anger, because again, you know, I've been slapped in the face, you know, and, you know, what happened with the long hot summer was really a direct result of people feeling that fear and that anger and that various emotions all erupting at the same time. You know, and so, and that's where we at with this, you know, the Kerner report that was done in 1968 following the long hot summer spoke to the very essence of what we're hoping not to experience today. But they understand that it's very possible, because people are at that dissatisfaction height, that the system is just not working, you know. And how can I feel comfortable knowing that you blatantly just don't care? You know?
Wow. Thank you, Uncle Bobby. Let's look at some of what Omar Jimenez is saying people are doing for George Floyd there. And then I want to come back and continue with some of what you're sharing. Let me figure out how to do this, because we're on Verdict Watch.
Okay.
Let's see. He's sharing from the ground.
Can you turn it up some, Charlene?
Yes. That good?
Oh, I'm not hearing anything. Maybe I could give it a little volume of what I have.
Okay. You said you couldn't hear anything? Wow. Okay. So I will work that out, because we want to hear when the verdict comes, get your analysis on that, and then we will be out. But let's try that out right now. Okay.
Okay.
This is Liberated Sisters. We're going to take a quick break, make this work for Unc, and we'll be back. We're back with Cephus, Uncle Bobby X Johnson, Love Not Blood campaign, talking about, the impact of this verdict either way. So Uncle Bobby, to get a little bit into the similarity of a recent case, the killing of Dante Wright, and how this verdict, all of it plays a part. What are your thoughts about coming out of the Derek Chauvin verdict, going into the family's battle for justice, which hasn't even begun in Dante Wright's case, right? That officer being charged is just one little step.
Right. This verdict is going to have a tremendous impact on what happens with Dante Wright justice movement going forward. But if this verdict is not what we want, it's going to be a double impact, I think I was saying, because you already got a family in pain, and those that love that family looking at this and hoping that they get some form of justice, because that's what they're going to lean on to get justice for Dante Wright.
Right.
If we're unable to get justice for George Floyd, then of course the families and us is going to feel like there's no way in the world we could get justice for Dante, with this weapon confusion issue. So it's this is a strange place to be in at this time.
Wow, Uncle Bobby. There's a way out. I want to be mindful and just not go so far into it, but the reality is, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, that as long as we live with white people, we will continue to live under white people, meaning the hatred and the white supremacy and the racism, the treacherous acts. And so for people who say, well, obviously, and we agree, it's not all white people, just like all ethnicities are not to blame for everything that a person or someone in a different faith does. However, those who are so-called good are silent to the extent that they cannot control or will not control or effect a complete change in it and benefit still. We're looking at Representative Sheila Jackson Lee in Houston, in Texas, who recently was able to get her bill through to study.
Right. Reparations.
Just study reparations.
Right.
We're still fighting to have it studied. I'm not going to, I'm not going to talk down on that, or I was going to say crap or this, but those are such slang words. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to shun that, but good job, Black folk. But I'm saying, okay, they're going to study it. So they'll study it for as many years as we've been enslaved, and then come back and say, no, here we go. No, nothing yet. Look at the voting rights problems in 2021.
Right.
In Georgia. After all that Sister Stacey Abrams and those in the state with the same mindset did.
Right.
Tremendous change in Georgia. They're like, so what? We're going to roll all this back.
Right.
So separation, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches, is key. We will never get justice, but you're the guest. What do you think?
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm believing, is that at some point we have to realize that the only way that we ever really feel like we can live free, healthy, vibrant lives is that we have to bond ourselves together. We have to build our own communities, and we have to just establish the love that we have for one another through that way, versus thinking that, we can look at Emmett Till's family. I think it's 66 years they've been fighting just to get justice for the murder of a 14-year-old Black child by racist white boys that admitted that they murdered him.
And
Yeah, and
God
admitted it.
admitted that he didn't do what she claimed or they claimed he did.
And most importantly, that he didn't do exactly that.
Whistling at this person.
You
Or
know,
whatever.
yeah. And so, I mean, it's time for us to pay attention to that. You know, when we are prospering among ourselves, we do really great. But we tend to seem to have an enemy that unappreciate our growth when we are in love with one another.
Well, yeah, and also you bring to mind the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's words and reminder, we are, whether you know it or not, we're at war on all different levels. So you're still fighting education, economics, new laws. Uncle Bobby, you helped pass several new laws. We got to get laws passed. But look, question, do you think that if law enforcement just followed the policies on the books, if the establishment just followed the laws that are already written, that we could kind of have a fighting chance?
If they followed the laws?
That's already on the books.
I know. Now, interesting question. But so when we do pass a law, we got to fight to enforce it. And if we do manage to win that battle of being able to enforce the law, then we got to enforce them to abide by the law. And then we have a system that seems not to want to hold them accountable to be abiding by the law. So, you know, it's like we put in this work to chip at this so-called police union or this policeman's bill of rights, so that we can hold officers accountable.
That bill right there.
Yeah, but every time we make advances to bring about protection to our rights and to save lives, there's so much kickback.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah,
I'm tracking that. Did you get to hear the police union chief? And he was talking about Ben Crump, attorney Ben Crump, pardon me. The police chief union put all the different excuses out there about why little Toledo was to blame. He should have been in school. Well, he's 13. He should have been in school. I won't even repeat all the drunk that he said. He pretty much blamed the victim, just as the attorney did in Chauvin. What do you think about all those, you know, how these police unions, I mean, who made it a war? Who made it a war between Black people and police? Other than what some activists, and you've heard people say, that the KKK is not in hoods anymore. They've said that they're in, not people, I'm going to give a name specifically, Student Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad of the Western Region has spoke on it before of how they're in the, you know, higher upper echelon, but he's not the first or the last to have given that analysis.
Right, exactly.
They're your doctor.
I mean,
they're seeing your pregnant wives or your girls getting birth control or doing other things at the hospital. They are the judges, as Minister Farrakhan talked about. Is it 2 tons of fun? I forgot. It's a 2-ton game that officers, judges played, courts played when Black men, Black people came up for sentencing. They would base the sentencing on their weight.
Right.
All of these different things. They're teachers. They're, you know.
Right.
Over.
Yeah, it's you know what, I'm gonna tell you, my mind is blank. But when I was listening to him talk, all I saw was the KKK in him, because that's what they do. They, on a regular, consistent basis, justify the homicide, blame us.
Yeah.
You know, blame everything that they possibly can to say it was justifiable because he had no business being out at 2 o'clock in the morning, or, you know, he had some tattoos, you know, or he wasn't in school, you know, so.
Well, the Final Call has covered this extensively. We have our current cover story by Barrington Simon. I'll see if I can get it now. Yeah, they're still there talking about it. I want to get the story and go through it a little bit, you know, if we may. We can Luther Vandross. Thank you, Uncle Bobby. When we get the verdict, and get your analysis. We will be out and about. Okay, here we go. Well, actually, I could just get it from right here. I like this version. Let's look at it, see? And now I have to screen share with you. Okay. Well, actually, not that one. 1 second, Uncle Bob. I'm learning all of this, you all. Oh, yeah, this is the one. Okay, so this is our current cover story for the final call. I got my eye on the phone, too, so we don't miss the announcement. How much more can we stand? This is by a contributing writer, Barrington Salmon, the Final Call newspaper. He says the painful death of Dante Wright, the traumatic death of George Floyd, and the Derek Chauvin murder trial in Minnesota bring into focus how fragile Black life remains and the constant, elusive, and almost non-existent doing of justice for Black people. Uncle Bobby. Non-existent doing of justice. How much loss can we stand? Have we had enough? Oh, here we go. Stand by.
Okay.
All rise for the jury.
Can you hear, Unc?
I can hear.
All right, please be seated. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, count 1. Court file number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions and to advise you further. So all rise for the jury.
Okay, Uncle Bobby.
Yes.
I'm just going to keep the screen sharing there for a minute.
Okay.
But your thoughts, Uncle Bobby? I saw your face. I'm going to tell you, I teared up. Your head down and your anticipation. I'll stop talking.
With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have Blakely. You may file a.
Let's listen in.
Written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
They would move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff. Anything further?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Here's some tissue, Uncle Bobby.
I know. Huh? Yeah, let me say I got some. Oh man, that's
We're adjourned.
Wow.
it's like I'm feeling it now. Wow.
There you have it. Less than 10 minutes.
I'm
Guilty
going
on
to,
all 3 counts. Guilty.
Lower this and stop the screen share. Uncle Bobby, yes, your thoughts. Uncle Bobby, don't make me cry. I'm crying.
Yeah.
Uncle crying. Just the address. I teared up when I saw you, Uncle Bobby, and actually obviously saw our people. It just hit me how the Black man, particularly, but also how our people have been holding their breath.
Right.
I saw your exhale, Uncle Bobby. I saw your exhale, and I saw your head down. I'm going to get back into here. Let me screen share as you talk. I'm going to get back into the job that I'm here to do, which is to report and share on this. But Uncle Bobby, your thoughts, period. That's what are you thinking now? You've seen it. It was quick. It was swift.
Yeah.
3 guilty, all counts.
Right. It made me flash back to Oscar, right? I don't know right now. I think this was a good thing to have it where the world can see it, right? Because it keeps us aware of what's really going on. And I think it forces them to become more accountable to our issues and our concerns, especially holding some police officer accountable. So we didn't get that. We didn't get that privilege because, as you know, it was no cameras allowed. Wow, that hit me.
What's happening?
Ooh, I don't know. It's just emotional, you know. A lot of emotions. Finding, I guess, many years of just hoping, you know, and being so close to being able to witness it in this way is very impactful. Yes,
sir. Look, let me show you. For you and many others, right? We'll keep the volume down, but not me. Are you there?
I'm here.
This is family. This is girlfriend. Many are at George Floyd Plaza, similar with yours, Oscar Grant. It's called the Grant Plaza now. The people renamed the site. I see what you're saying in terms of it hit you. would you say this is a turning point? Is this a turning point in the way unjust police and even rogue vigilante killings are, we're going to start seeing different outcomes? What does this mean in your view, obviously only?
I want to say, I'm still optimistically cautious or cautiously optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge for the police chief, the brother, to come out and speak, uh, in a way that helped convict Chauvin. It was huge to even hear other police officers come out and say, this is not how we were trained, right? And to help convict him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and I want to believe that there is a turning point that has finally surfaced where these police chiefs are no longer trying to protect these type of characters. And in essence, it helps the jury help find them guilty for the crimes they commit. So this was huge in the sense that it showed us that the last 12 years of work has really begun to bring into reality some changes that we want and that we need.
Let's talk about, I stopped the screen sharing because I want to talk about the 12 years of work, Uncle Bobby. It's been a long, hard look. Again, ringside seat. I've seen it. I see it. I'm there.
Right.
And, it's out of love.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about this last 12 years and, do that.
Yeah.
What were some of the significant points of the last few years that he's going? Oh, I took the screen sharing off, but CNN is showing him handcuffed and out again. Before you jump into the last 12 years, I do want to point out what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has said in previous times at points like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a time of caution. I'll say that.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
I'll say that because this, you said it earlier in the interview, they're not happy when we're happy. Well, this is certainly not pleasing to many, but let's talk about the 12 years. Let's stay there.
Right.
Highlight of all of the 12 years work culminating to this.
Yeah, I had, on Saturday, we went to see, Stephen Taylor they was celebrating an anniversary for Stephen Taylor, who was killed in San Leandro. And the Social Justice Academy, which is a group of students that have a social justice program at San Leandro High School, was there. They put the event on, and it was huge. It was actually really nice. And it was a much bigger academy than it was in 2010 when they asked me to come there to speak, right? They pretty much embraced us and they stood with us. And two of the young high schoolers were crying. They want me to come to the school to speak, because I had spoke there, at the event, and they want me to come to the schools. But what I'm saying is that the awareness of this violence by these young people is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And, and what we've seen in the last years, especially with Trump being in place, help elevate our consciousness to just how much racism is still existing in this country. And, and then they come to the knowledge that we got these so-called statues that represented degradation of Black folks that, we decided it was time to pull them down. We began to pull them down. So I saw power in that and a fear, because even, this is an example. When we were in Washington, D.C., Al Sharpton called the anniversary of the Martin Luther King March in Washington, D.C. While we were upstairs where we were at, it was a crowd of people. They sent in semi-military or SWAT team to guard the Lincoln statue, as if people was even thinking about pulling it down. You know, no, to my knowledge, no one had.
Did that anyway.
I know.
He shot him right in the head. Optimus.
It was just, you know, and what that told me, oh, we're supposed to do this television program coming up, but what that told me was that there's fear, but also, though we just got this victory, there's going to be a backlash. You know, in many ways, the backlash is already starting to happen, because these officers, you know, with the young man in Chicago, the Dante Wright issue, weapon confusion, this idea of engaging us now is going to be pretty dangerous, you know, for a period of time. And I think we're going to have to be extremely careful when these engagement takes place. At some point, it should diminish, but right now, I think this is going to be a very volatile time, because we got those folks that just don't like us unhappy. You know, then you got the police that just don't like us unhappy. You know, there may be even a split within their own agencies, you know, concerning who like us and who don't. But yeah, this was very powerful, you know.
Well, Uncle Bobby, you're very powerful. Love Not Blood campaign is very powerful. Thank you so much for being with us. Greetings to Sister Beatrice. We pray that she has traveling grace. Greetings to Miss Wanda and the family. We just know how heavy this is. I know you have many more people calling you. So thank you for coming on with Liberated Sisters. We love you and the family so much. And keep me posted.
I will.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam, Sister Charlene.